Hey Renee. Okay. I know you're doing Loomis heads. The easiest way, again, if you remember from when we were doing the last video I showed you, was Bridgman. The reason I like him, again, especially for drawing heads, is if you wanted to start with the ball like you're normally doing, instead of using the ball as just like the cranium of the skull, you're using it as the actual entire head, just like an idea of where the head would place on the body, and you could toss his neck there. All you got to do with the Bridgman way is figure out where the center of the face is, and of course the center of the face goes down the middle of the forehead, down the middle of the nose, into the middle of the chin. And what he does really well is he breaks things down into shapes that I find personally that help me a little bit easier. And what you do is the forehead is more of a wedge shape, like this. So if I put it on its side, um, it'll look a little bit like this. If that makes it look a little easier for you. Okay. And then the easiest way I do it from here, where your eyes would be, figure out where your chin would be, and in between there's where your nose is going to go. But the chin, it kind of has a block on it as well. And you can just throw a line out way out here until you start placing it out. But right where the eye stops, this is where the rest of the face is going to come in. Basically, it looks something like this, and your chin would go here. Okay, so can you start to visualize that a little bit in your mind? So if we just apply that over here, goes right to the front of the chin, and on the side of the face does the same thing. Right here as well. This is where like when you see people smiling, or their cheek that sticks out past their nose, and some people have trouble with that. Um, and now you know where your jaw should be, and you can just bring that up. And then here is where you can finish the rest of the head. You can just block in the rest of that shape. And when you're putting your features on, now you have everything pretty much lined up. If you wanted to toss your nose in, keep it simple for now. I usually just do little circles to establish where the eyes are, and then I can go in after that. And halfway down the eyes is where your mouth will be. And the cheeks might be a little puffy here. Um, I really don't know how well I'm explaining this to you. Just shade this in here so you can still see that it's the same things that I drew over here, just with features in it. So if you can think of just doing those shapes, when you start doing angles of faces, they are a little more tricky, but again, we'll say this guy's looking down. We'll just have an idea of where the head will be. Um, Usually I like to start off with the forehead. It's a wedge shape, like that. And down the middle is where our nose will be. So again, I just go straight down, and we'll say that'll be about where my chin is. I'll make sure I block it in a little bit, and halfway. That's where the nose will go. And then from here, again, we just bring that shape. This is something you might have to be careful of because this shape doesn't always, when something's twisted in perspective, it doesn't always flow the same as if you look at it straight on. And then we'll just bring the jaw up like this. I'll show you how we can figure out how to connect that in a second. So once I have this, let's say I'll just put a little arrow, a little quick little arrow. That'll be where the nose will be. And if you follow this, do you see this curve right here with your forehead? That's the same curve that all of your features are going to fall upon. That exact same curve. So your nose has to curve to there, your mouth has to curve to there, and as well, because this is, I don't know if I talked to you about this last time, but instead of thinking of a head as a circle where you're putting like perspective on it, think of it like a box if you can. Sometimes that helps people as well. So this would be where your forehead would be, and then on the side of your head where your ear would be is be on that side. So if you think of this as a box, you know that these lines, once they hit that side, they have to go back. They don't keep going rounded. And you can place your ear in between your eye and your nose, and then it gives you your jaw right there. And I know it's getting pretty muddy in here. Um, then you could use this block here to round out the rest of the head. And you can touch little circles for eyes there, put a little mouth on them. Actually, we'll just round that out. Like I'm looking at this right now, and I can tell you it's out of whack, but it gives you a little idea of like how to place them. One thing I definitely recommend doing is instead of doing this from your mind right away, try doing it from reference. So, let's see if I can grab this magazine I have here. Let me pull the camera out. Make sure I got that in focus. That's good. Piece of paper. Again, what I'd recommend is definitely be doing quite a bit of reference. Don't do a lot of this just out of your mind, because if you start doing a lot of this out of your mind, you're going to get confused and you're going to get lost real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to get a good camera angle for you to see. Okay, here, let me find some other reference. This isn't working. Here, let me open it up. Maybe we can find something in here. Just trying to find anybody's head. Okay. See if we can get that in there, in the shot. Okay, I'm going to do my best to do this while we're looking at that. Okay, so just basically, again, you got your circle head here. It's going to fall in there roughly. I will say the neck will go about here. And again, now we're just going to establish where the center is and start working in where the features are going to be. So we're going to work on the forehead, which is a wedge shape. A good thing to remember where to cut the forehead off is right here where the hairline meets. And this is actually a really cool feature in here. You can see where it kind of dives in for her eye. That gives you exactly where the wedge is going to be for this face. Okay, and another trick you can do as well is the distance between the forehead and here is the same distance to where the nose is going to be, which is the same distance to where the chin is going to be. Okay, and when you start doing things in perspective, it changes a little bit. But it is a female, so I'm just gonna round out the chin just a little bit. And you can also see when you're using your reference lining up where the nose hits the cheek. So I know the nose is going to be like that. Just using simple shapes, we can build the features on top of the simple shapes as well. But her cheek actually hits above the nose, so it kind of comes out like this, and then it comes down to the cheek. So now that I have this side, I know over here that's as far out as it's going to go, and it's going to go to the cheek as well. And then we carry the chin over here and up. And if you need to bring your lines over here, that's fine, just so you can establish where the ear is going to be. And then you can build the rest of the skull over top. And I know that this may have seemed pretty easy. It'll come to you with time, no worries. And again, this might look too angular and stuff because it is a female, which is fine. Again, this curve, which in this point is pretty much straight, is the same line that the nose is going to fall on, the same line as the mouth. And when you start worrying about actual sizes, like the size of the nose is the same size of the eye on both sides, and in between them is where the mouth will fall. I think she got like a straight mouth. And again, when you go in here, once you have all your structure laid in, this is when you'd erase it a little bit, and then you go in here and you don't have to put in all these lines. You can start softening things up and making things more towards your reference that you were looking at. You can go on the eyes here and you can start adding in your eyelids. It does take a little bit of practice, but for me, I found working like this to draw heads is a lot easier and makes more sense to me when I'm drawing faces the Bridgman way as opposed to the Loomis way. Loomis works for a lot of people, but I got a lot more out of Bridgman. So I definitely, again, recommend looking at him. And her hair would go up here somewhere. But anyway, so I'm vaguely going off this reference here. I'm trying my best to get pretty close to how it looks, but again, play around with it, and I hope that helps you again. And if it didn't help you, I apologize. But yeah, let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.